Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to Dear Sybersue. I'm Susan McCord. Today I want to talk about why your dating attitude may be blocking love. Sometimes what happens is we get ourselves into a pattern or we choose a type of person and we keep going back for the same thing that isn't working. And part of that is we've got it so stuck in our heads about what we're looking for. Sometimes our checklist is way too long and we try and tick off all those boxes, but what happens is it actually sabotages you finding happiness in a potential partnership. I hear this a lot from both my male and female clients. And what is happening is you don't always understand what you're putting out there. And if sexual chemistry is your number one go-to, you're going to end up with a lot of one-night stands or very short-lived relationships, which could go on for a month or less. So what happens is you start feeling even lonelier than you were before you started dating because you're feeling rejected. You give yourself to somebody and then the door closes. When you're dating, it is a really good idea to get out there and meet somebody without judging, without putting any misconceptions or perspective about who you think you're with. Ask them some fun questions. Don't interrogate them. Find out what they're looking for. Make sure the conversation is reciprocated and that you are looking for the same things. I understand how important sexual chemistry is. And I think in our younger years, that is the top priority because we don't want to spend time with somebody that we don't look at in that way. I have found in my years that it does grow sometimes. I never thought it did back in the day. I always thought you had to have that chemistry immediately or it wasn't going to work. But I found out that sometimes that chemistry isn't enough and you need to have all the other attributes that go with a really great partner. But the bottom line here is not having a pattern. Stop doing repetitive dating situations that aren't bringing you what you're looking for. See somebody again, see them a few times before you make your decision. Sometimes you know right away. You just don't feel anything with that person. You don't have things in common, and you do have to have compatibility with somebody, absolutely. You have to have interests, values, goals, all those things if you want to have a potential long-term partnership. But don't throw everything away before you even get to see if they have those qualities. And this is what I'm finding now. People have got a voice inside of their head that is shutting something down before it even has a chance. And that's when you're sabotaging your dating life with a repetitive attitude. If you have a type or really high expectations, you're going to end up with the same results every time. So why don't you try something different? Change your attitude, change your thoughts, your mindset. The other dating attitude that I've really noticed with people is when they go out on a date with the negative attitude that it's not going to work. People pick up on your body language. They can see that you've already shut it out and you're saying, what's the point? What am I here? It's not going to work out. You're right. It's not going to work out if you have the same thoughts all the time. Go on a date and say, I'm just going to give this a shot. I'm just going to see if I even like this person. Why go in with misconceived ideas about what's going to happen or what's not going to happen? The end result will be nothing is going to happen because that is the energy that you're putting out and people pick up on that. This isn't the real you. It's a guarded version of who you are. It's a protective shield that comes up around you that keeps everything from coming towards you. And sometimes you don't see that because you think you're being open. but your body language is shut off. So automatically the person sitting across from you is going to feel that you're not there. You're not really into this. So if you're wondering why you only have one date a lot of the time, it could be what they're reading from you. Shut that energy out about this isn't going to work. Because there's somebody for everybody out there. And I think what's happened right now, people have got so disillusioned because they're dating and moving on so quickly without really getting to know someone. A lot of people have a bad dating attitude because they're emotionally unavailable. They're protecting themselves from being hurt again because maybe it happened to them in the past. So they don't want to put themselves out there for fear of a relationship ending and them going through the heartbreak again. The trick about this dating scenario is to learn from each time that you do experience something with somebody. When you go on a date, look at the pros and cons of it. Don't just focus on the bad things. Focus on the things that, this person was quite nice. I could like to get to know them a little bit better and find out more about them. We're not always in our best form on the first date because we're nervous or we're being a little judgy. So slow it down and get to know somebody for who they are across the table from you. How do you stop this behavior? How do you change it up? The first thing is to stop bringing old relationship wounds into the conversation on a date. A lot of people start out the conversation this way because someone might say, oh, so how come you're single? Which is one of the worst questions, in my opinion, that you can ask. But some people do that. And then they talk about what happened to them. Nobody needs to know your history, especially on the first date. That can be something that you talk about later as to maybe why a relationship didn't work out, what you've learned from it. That's all good conversation after you get to know someone and maybe you've started a relationship with them. Then second thing is always give someone a chance. When you walk up and sit down and you say, oh, I don't know about this, I just don't see it. Give it a shot anyway. Don't get up and say, okay, I don't see a connection here. Sit down and talk to them for a while. If you've had a few bad experiences when you've been dating, take some time away. Analyze what happened during those dates. What did you learn? What could you have done better? Take ownership. Don't just point the finger that they weren't the right person for you. Find out in your own mind what it was that was missing or what would you have liked to have seen a bit different. That way then when you go out dating again, you've got a little bit of things to work with going forward. Replace judgment with curiosity. What's this person all about? They sound interesting. Ask some great questions that you get to know them better. Don't shut down because you don't think they're your type. Have an enjoyable evening or afternoon. Walk away understanding why you were there, what put you two together to have that date. And then if you feel that nothing is going to happen there, just take those good qualities on to the next date. Learn from every situation over and over again. We're not going to mesh with everyone. And I think that's the important thing that a lot of people don't understand. They want everything instant gratification all the time. And this is a big mistake. We don't fall hard and fast for every single person we meet. That's just the way life is. And it would be pretty weird if we did. So enjoy the experience for what it is at the time. And if you are really sexually attracted to somebody right away on a date, hold back until you get to know them a little better. For safety reasons first. The takeaway today is change the negativity in how you're approaching a date. Understand that there needs to be compatibility, there needs to be fun, there needs to be similar interests and goals for what you want in a relationship. So take away these old dating beliefs. It takes two people to make or break a date. So you're 50% responsible for how things turn out. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please subscribe. Please leave any comments. How have you dealt with dating? What do you find is the hardest thing to deal with? And what do you find that you have learned from your dating experiences? Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.